And hello, space fans! On a beautiful day here at Boca Chica, evading the static fire of Starhopper, we're talking to you live, actually, and I'm currently with my other hosts, Ari Track, Seas Requiem, Horizon Skies, Kerbal Madness. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, you can do that.
Hello, I am Ari Trek. I do stuff, and I'll just communicate a little bit about what Starhopper is and just explain what things are going on. It seems like the road will be closed shortly for what everything's looking like. Still crew on the pad and things. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Cease. I'm a ground crew member from in SpaceX Virtual. I'll be talking to you live, and I'll be telling you guys what's going on right now and how far away we are from the static fire. Let's hope it
Hello.
goes smooth.
Hello, I'm Kerbal Madness, and I'm the Field Safety Officer on the Command and Control team on SpaceX Virtual, and I'll be here discussing any questions you have and watching, obviously, the Starhopper static fire that will occur today. And even though we don't have a timestamp yet, it will hopefully be very shortly.
Right, and due to how dynamic the testing schedule is here at SpaceX Virtual, we don't have an exact T0. We'll be guessing based on the venting, how many people are at the pad, the vehicles, and how many fuel line connections there are, and tank farm activity. So we're just getting started right now. We don't even have any fuel lines connected, if I'm not mistaken. We have a lot of crew right now at the pad. They're beginning to just get briefed, I think, and then they're gonna get their stuff going, really. So we are just getting started here, folks. So it's gonna be a long ride. We should be at least 1.5 hours out, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, ground crew only just arrived at the pad. We'll see how everything's gonna go.
Right. And there's also two exec cars there, parked up, I guess, just supervising. But yeah, so the main site is Starhopper. Obviously, today we'll be SpaceX Virtual will be doing a 3-second engine, one engine static fire, in preparation for a 1 meter hop. If I'm not mistaken, guys, 1 meter, right?
I don't think SpaceX is doing a hop today. I think it's just a static fire.
Right, yeah, but I'm saying the next, I think they'll be doing a 1 meter hop after the static fire goes well.
Yeah, isn't it like a tethered hop?
Yeah, it's
Right,
a 2 meter
absolutely.
tethered
Yeah.
hop.
Right, I see. Okay. So, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna hop on here and just explain the fueling process. So we expect a recondenser to come first of all, and then we expect there to be a liquid oxygen load, and then coming up on a methane vent. The methane tanks
Right.
will load.
And our timeline, as you can see on the stream, is pad ready up. That's when the pad will be ready. Road closure. The pad is cleared. Flare stack initiated. Venting commenced. Propellant load startup. Static fire imminent. Static fire completed. A rapid detank, and the pad is reopened, and the road is also reopened. So, all the residents of the village of Boca Chica are not at their homes. Obviously, they've been evacuated about 15 hours in advance. They got an overpressure notice from SpaceX Virtual, because this static fire could go well or wrong, obviously. So,
Yeah, from what I've heard about the evacuation, they weren't required to evacuate. They were just required to be outside of their houses when
Right, okay.
when the siren goes off.
Right, and the siren should be at about T minus 10 minutes, so that's another nice heads up. And the camera view on your screen right now is not hand operated, obviously. This is really close to the pad. This is a robot, and we are controlling it remotely. So, yeah, just for your information.
For this mission, we nicknamed our robot Mr. Quivia because that's who's operating it. Yeah, thought that was a cool name.
Looks like ground crew is having a meeting by the tank farm.
Yeah, we can see that. I don't know what they're talking about, but hopefully it's something good.
I'm gonna guess Elon's just giving, or someone on the team is just giving some final words to the ground crew on operations and everything, just making sure that everything's still sitting ready to go.
Right, absolutely. And yeah, as you can see, a lot of people are wondering why, like, this does not look like Starship.
Right, I'll explain here. We are not. This is SpaceX Virtual. We're starting behind again at Starhopper, and we will make our way up to.
Unfortunately, we have some connection issues with one
Here.
of our one of our commentators. So we'll be right back, and
Please
Lobster,
stand by.
she's the main host, will keep talking until we can reconnect with our host.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Alright, yeah, I had a little bit of connection issues. But, again, before I disconnected, the reason why the Starhopper is just a thing is just we're testing out. This is like the perfect test for our Raptor engines to see how well it can perform doing in flight, aka the hops, and just a static fire, really, which we should see today. We're measuring engine performance and etc. today. If the static fire isn't gonna go well, obviously we'll have an engine swap, which we can do. That does take a little bit of time, so they'll have to do another static fire post that engine test or engine swap if that is
One thing,
happening.
what one thing that also needs to be mentioned is that this sci-fi will also collect data of the Raptor engines themselves, which would definitely help in the long run as the development of the Raptor will help us pick humans into Mars.
And I think the exec cars are now leaving, just leaving ground crew to do their thing.
And just a reminder to everyone, all the data that we get off of this, all the data that SpaceX gets off of this static fire, will just help them progress for over test flight, which is exciting.
The ground crew team seems to be returning to Starhopper and setting up some a staircase to apparently go up the Starhopper and connect the fuel lines and vents, which means we are near ready to connect the fuel tank farm to the Starhopper and fuel up the Starhopper for a test.
Right, and absolutely. So yeah, we're hopefully able to make some good progress right now. But yeah, everything continuing to look pretty good right now.
We can see ground crew on Starhopper, making sure all the fuel lines are secure, so that this TIE fighter will actually go well.
Right.
I'm guessing that Starhopper is still looking good on time for static fire per our timeline, but again, ground crew is on the pad, so we do not know
Right.
how it's going. I think the road is closed by now to the public, but it's open to the
Yeah, it
SpaceX
is.
teams.
And right, yeah, the road is closed. And we can get the robot cam to focus on the engine. Here, if I can move that. Okay. So Yeah, that is the Raptor engine. It's just one single engine. This will be conducting today's static fire. It's a pretty powerful engine. It's the newest SpaceX engine that they've developed. So it's quite amazing, really, what they've done. So, yeah.
And I think we're expecting a I'm going to talk IRL now, real life here. So in real life today, we're expecting the real SpaceX to light up and launch SN11 after an early morning static fire, which is here today.
Right.
6 static fires. It's
You're,
basically static fire.
you're breaking up a lot there, by the way. So you might want to try and fix that. But we got the gist. Yep. In IRL SpaceX, we'll be doing some amazing things. Oh, and fuel lines are connected. Okay, there we go. The fuel lines are now connected up into Starship. So that's something amazing. There's some pipes running along Starship. I think we can, if we can focus on that really quickly.
Yeah,
So
the ground crew is returning to the cars, which means their work is done and we are ready for them to go out the road to be at a safe enough distance so that if anything goes wrong, they can be at a safe distance and not be hurt.
I'm gonna
Yep.
go ahead and pan over to the pipes really quickly. So I'm just gonna see. There we go. So that's the tank farm over there. Uh, it's a pretty, it's a pretty amazing. One thing we forgot to mention is, uh, Starship in the end eventually will be running off methane instead of your traditional solid slash liquid fuel. So that's something pretty special. So if anyone wants to talk a bit more about the methane part of this, so
Yeah,
please go ahead.
I believe Starhopper is also running off of methane already, methane and liquid oxygen. And I'm not sure what liquid they're using for the turbo pumps to assist there. But I'm guessing for today it's just methane and liquid oxygen.
Pad is cleared. Pad is cleared. Okay, that's amazing. The pad is now being cleared. Ground crew is now leaving the pad. So Starhopper is all alone and is ready. And if I'm gonna pan over to the top of Starhopper, there is some mounts up there. You can see those black structures that are hooked up with some struts. Those are used for RCS. That's some RCS fuel tank reaction control system. During our hops, they'll be using those tanks to usually to just maneuver around really. And the flare stack should be coming up soon, so I'm gonna go ahead and pan over to the flare stack really quickly.
Now, the function of the flare stack is to burn extra methane that is flammable. And methane is actually one of the fuels for Starhopper. Now, if we don't release it into the atmosphere without it being burned, it actually becomes a risk, like you may have seen in other videos of explosions. Yeah, it causes an explosion. And that's what we try to prevent by actually burning the methane as soon as it leaves the flare stack. And what you'll actually see is a small flame on top of the flare stack, and that is the methane being burned.
Right, absolutely. Uh, if explosions, obviously, aka RUDs, rapid unscheduled disassemblies. The cool way of saying it. Will happen if something were to go wrong, obviously. And just to be clear, there is an FTS system on board, so if something were to go wrong in a hop, we obviously, at the hands of the mission control, they are able to just, click a button really, and boom, bada boom, it's gone. But it's also automated as well. So if, one of the readings are off, that could be highly, sensitive to the flight. They obviously have the chance to terminate it. So if you want to talk a bit more about that,
Yeah, I'll talk about the flight
as you
termination
can.
system. So Just a reminder, now that the pad is cleared, the next step is propellant loading. So we're about to step into that, but let's get back onto the topic of the flight termination
Oh,
system.
we got flash stack.
Oh, there's flight stack. Okay.
There's
Yep,
75.
we got flash
That's
stack
what
on.
that's what I meant. That is essentially methane being burned, which stops it from actually destroying the vehicle in a large explosion.
Right. Absolutely.
And just a reminder, the flight termination system is basically a run of explosive cords that are activated per a key or a button on one of the flight controller's desks. And there's also a computer automated system in the Starship software. So it can be activated if Starship has some sort of data that's not what we're expecting or anything is off.
Right. Absolutely.
I just got confirmation that the command and control team, which are in mission control, have readied up Starhopper and its onboard computers for the static fire.
All right. The next major event we should see is a little bit of venting. This is gonna be a huge highlight. It should just be a little white puff, obviously. It shouldn't be nothing, huge, not like a rocket engine plume or something. But yeah. So
Yeah, the next step is that white plume, otherwise known as the recondenser. And once the recondenser starts, about 5 minutes after recondenser starts, we should have a hint that liquid oxygen is starting to load on Starhopper.
right.
Keep in mind,
Yep.
our countdown isn't completely precise. This is just a rough estimate.
Yeah, that is exactly true. We don't have a exact T0. The test kit was so dynamic, anything can happen. Like they detect something going wrong in their sensors and etc., and then they'll just do a rapid detank. Oh, and I'd like to mention they don't have like if they go past the window, they can't go past the window. Like they only have a window for to do all these tests. Usually, how long are the windows usually, guys? About
I'm guessing it's usually between 4 to 6, but I can't tell what today's window was. I know it's early, and I know it's like mid-afternoon to later at night.
Yeah, so our window is only based on the road closures because currently we don't use TFRs, which is the temporary flight restriction, because we aren't actually doing hops that go very high, which would require no planes in that area. So currently we are only based on the road closures, which stops people from going in the road and possibly being harmed by a RUD, or Rapid and Shuttle Disassembly, as Lobster said. And that's why we have such a tight window, because we need to get the...
venting.
Oh, we see venting. That's good. That means...
We have venting. That's a sign that propellant load has started.
Yeah, we
that
see
means
some skirt
our
venting.
work
That's
started.
pretty cool.
And just a reminder that during the 150-meter hops, it's not required for a TFR, but they do recommend that planes be above 4,000 feet for safety and clearance.
Absolutely right. And this venting is just next to near the engine. So if I'm gonna pan over to the engines and get a nice zoom going, so we can see that. And yeah, I'm gonna move over to where the venting is actually coming from. Okay. So yeah, that looks pretty amazing, really. So that's just the sign that fueling has begun, aka prop load. And if we should maybe have some tank farm activity sometime soon. We'll see.
Also, this place where we are doing the static fire is a construction site which will become bigger in the future. Now, we are still deciding whether we will launch Starships from Cape Canaveral or not, but this will probably become one of the major launch sites for Starship with Super Heavy, and Starhopper is just a prototype to a Starship.
Absolutely, we expect Super Heavy and Starship to have its first launch
We have
outside of
some.
Boca Chica, Texas.
We have some. We have a methane vent.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
We have
Look
vent
at
from the
that.
methane tank.
So yeah, that's what I mean by it's just a like a white plume basically coming out from one of the pipes. This is obviously expected. This is nothing. That's not supposed to happen. This is perfect.
Absolutely.
So
And the
yeah,
reason why we have vents is because, well, for example, in water, the the difference in pressure between air and which is essentially water vapor uh, in the gas state and its liquid state is essentially about 800 times. It's 800 times its volume. So if you have a lot of liquid oxygen or methane inside the tanks, it starts evaporating and taking a much bigger size than the tanks. So we need to release that pressure via the vents, which are what we see.
and based on these events, we're gonna reset the clock to T minus 45 minutes. It seems as if that's how far away we are right now. So yeah. Um.
Hello.
So yeah.
All right. Hello, guys. Good to have you here. I'm just gonna do a few clarifications. So yes, we don't have a proper T minus zero, of course. The time you see in game is just an estimation, and venting seems to be good right now. That's just condensation, it's not water or anything. And it looks black because of Roblox's shadows, so but it's not really black. Obviously, it's
It
white.
is.
Like the one
It
you
looks like
in
we have a
the.
vent from our top of the liquid
Oh
oxygen.
yes,
Major vent.
oh, that's a big vent. That's a big vent.
Nice. And most of these ventings can go on and off really.
Yeah,
See, as I said, right as I said it.
And the reason why they vent out the liquid oxygen and methane is to relieve pressure from the vehicle, so it just is all equalized and just feels nominal. And just a reminder to everyone, your viewership is what makes us continue to do this. It's just your guys's. It's what makes you guys want to make us to continue on doing this. We appreciate you guys watching.
Buy expensive robots. What? I'm sorry.
So if you're wondering why we actually did these things, as he said, is, well, we have your support. Now, if you want to support us, go to our server on Discord. I don't actually have the invite here, but you should go to our server. It's probably in the room you just were on when you spawn. And you can support us there by either buying your seat to a launch or just the monthly support that you can get by becoming a supporter.
And I'm gonna see if we can actually pan over to the end of the road near us. Yeah, okay. Let's check the other side. I think there's some people over there, so I'm gonna try and zoom in as much as I can. See if there's some people over there. And I think there is, actually. I think the ground crew's over there, matter of fact. So that's pretty cool. That's really neat. So, yep, flare stack. And if you're just joining us, this is the first test of the Starhopper vehicle, owned by SpaceX Virtual, obviously.
Okay.
So we're going to. I'm sorry, I have a lost of words right now. We're currently at propellant load. The flare stack has been initiated. Heavy vents going on right now. The static fire should be imminent soon. We'll have a siren. It won't be very loud. I don't think we'll be able to actually even hear it on stream, if I'm not mistaken. So other than that, we should be looking good.
Realistically, I think the siren was only implemented after like Mark 1, I think.
Right. Okay.
I'm not sure.
I gotta go for a bit.
All right.
All right, goodbye. Have a good day.
You too, man.
And have his cease. He's signing off just for a little bit. And if you don't know already, and both vents have stopped. Both vents have stopped. Top vents have stopped.
Low one, yep.
Yeah, except the below one. Yep.
So both vents have stopped. Let me see if I can make an estimate on the countdown.
All right. Based on these events, we're gonna keep going with our current time here, but we might change it sometime soon. And yeah, everything continuing to look good. Do I remind that this is a test vehicle? It could detank at any second now, and just stop for today and maybe go another day. So
For those
the
wondering
test schedule is
what
very
the-
dynamic.
For those wondering what a detank is when we depressurize the tanks so that we don't have the risk of the tanks exploding due to overpressure.
And that's right. Detanking is gonna happen pretty commonly in the Starship test schedule. So we'll see really, but right now everything looks good. The weather looks pretty good. We have everyone's cleared the pad so far. No unusual activity near Starhopper. So for the most part, yeah. And just to be clear, for your information, no one is near the pad operating this camera. I'm manually operating this camera via remotely the software, so don't worry at all.
For those asking in the chat,
Oh, top vent has started. Top vent has started. I'm gonna zoom on that.
oh yeah, we have the top vent. But for those wondering what's the NAT for the static fire, which is the no earlier than,
The
which
vent
means
just stopped.
the static fire won't be any earlier than a set time. We don't currently have a time like that. We don't have a specific time due to the dynamic changes of this project, because it can at any time scrub, which is when we just don't try to static fire because the conditions may not be the best ones, or it may just be a bit too unsafe to perform the static fire. So we act in everyone's safety and we just shut down the computers and wait until it's safe to perform a static fire.
Right.
Yes, that is correct. Okay, in an estimate of a T0, I would say, I would say around, actually the time we have right now is actually pretty accurate. I would say around T minus 38 minutes.
Right. Okay. Cool. So, and I'm currently managing most of the stuff in the stream right now, changing the time and stuff. Currently, we've had pad ready up, stream. We've had road closure. The pad has been cleared, as I said. Flare stack has been initiated. Venting has commenced. Prop load has started, and the static fire is imminent. Really, right now. And we just had some more vents stop just recently. Okay, so yeah.
Okay, all right. Just keep in mind that at any moment there is a possible detanking of the vehicle. Obviously, SpaceX will try not to let that happen, but if they really need to do it, then they will. If not, then they will just proceed with the static fire.
Right, and absolutely, we have some more time in our window, if I'm not mistaken. So if that is the case, the mission control team will analyze the detank issue, and then they'll just see if they can go for another attempt at the static fire. But it seems very unlikely right now, so we'll have to see.
So far, everything seems to be nominal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even
So
though it may seem unlikely, it can at any time be scrubbed, as I said. So we don't have any set date, so don't worry if it just doesn't happen because it will certainly happen another day.
right, absolutely. This test schedule is super dynamic, obviously. So anything can really happen.
And the chances of failure is also, possible. It's pretty high considering this is the first ever static fire of this vehicle and of a Raptor engine on a vehicle.
Right,
The Raptor engine has been fired before, but never on a vehicle or in this ambient ever, of
Yeah,
course.
right, and
as our boss said, uh, you can't improve if you don't fail. And that's
absolutely.
our mentality here is if you don't fail, you don't actually know what you could improve and what could go better and what could actually save people when there is another accident like what happened in space shuttles like Challenger. If you can make an error while there are no people in it, it's way more probable that it won't happen when you actually have people in it. And that's our mentality here.
Right, absolutely. That's perfect. Where I just couldn't said it any better myself. Oh, top vent has
That's
started.
another
I'm
top
gonna,
vent.
yeah, I'm
Yes.
gonna zoom in on that now. All right, and we can see that top vent coming out from the top of Starhopper, looking pretty good. And just before Starhopper, uh, the Starship landing guidance, really, how would the Starship land back on Earth or on Mars was announced. So apparently the way that they want to approach landing Starship is with a uh, belly flop maneuver. Basically, it's like sideways to tail down, if I'm not mistaken. So if you want to talk us through that, Elon.
Yeah, the maneuver that we want to do, is actually just having the Starship reduce almost 98% of its speed using the actual atmosphere and don't have it doesn't have to use propellant, and essentially saving as much fuel as we can so that when we're about 900 meters in height we can actually use our engines to switch from the side position with the help of our.
Oh, I think he's back.
All right, we
We're
had some
sorry
major
for that.
difficulties there. Our communications app just had a freeze up really right there. Nothing to worry about though. That could happen again. Obviously, as time goes on with the Starship test, Starship will get Starhopper or Starship will get better and better, and our streams as well will get better and better.
So
I'd like to remind everyone that this is not going to be doing as much as a Starship prototype, like a full-fledged Starship prototype would be doing. This will only do a static fire and a few hops, while others will be doing a full. We can. I think the original plan is 20 kilometers. I think
yeah,
so.
25 kilometers.
Okay, 25.
So our plan is to do a 25-kilometer hop after Starhopper when we have an actual fully functional Starship, as he said, with aerodynamic control surfaces, as I was trying to mention before. And we will essentially go up to 25 kilometers, then do a maneuver to make us go sideways and
Oh, just noticed the vent shut down.
Oh, yep. We just had a vent stop.
and
Uh,
essentially
Keep an eye on the flare stack also. It's a pretty important indicator.
Right.
So
And just a reminder, the point of the belly flap is to use the flaps to reduce drag and lower the speed.
yeah, essentially it cuts down 98% of
Don't
the
talk about
speed,
my talk.
and then you just have to make yourself vertical and slow down. At that point, we still don't know how many raptors we need to make ourselves vertical because, well, one of them might shut down and it's a problem. But at first, we'll probably just use the necessary raptors to just go down, slow down enough, deploy our landing legs, which are now in development, and just set us down, hopefully not explode after that.
Right, absolutely. It's pretty likely that it probably would have a ride, and I'm not going to be surprised. I'd bet money on that one. Because it's a pretty difficult maneuver to do. Because when you're coming in at blazing speeds, anything can happen. You have to relight those engines really, and go in for go in for it really. And you know, I'd like to remind you actually that before Starship has a full-fledged system, we will actually have two more prototypes, aka SN. I think it's 4, 5, and 6. Uh, so those are very important as well. Uh, those prototypes are just going to be testing the engines again, but also doing hops with RCS control and etc. It's yeah, it's going to be the SN prototypes will not have fins, so it'll basically be a long cylinder basically with an engine, so a silo. But do not worry, it's a very advanced silo. That is.
Some real life news. SN11's the first crane went down. The second crane is still there. I'm not sure if the launch is still scheduled for today. I hope so.
SpaceX.com. Oh, and it's getting on the topic of real life, by the way. The SpaceX.com is still targeting today. But they may not be up today. But they are pulling FTS pins right now. These are pins that just make sure the FTS doesn't go off when it's not supposed to. And if you were to accidentally mistakenly click the button, it wouldn't disarm. The FTS pins are pretty important. So yeah.
Yeah, and after that, controlled aerodynamic descent that I was talking about with the body flaps, and after that, vertical landing. These are critical systems to landing starships at destinations across the solar system where prepared surfaces or runways do not exist. And returning to Earth, actually, this capability will enable a fully reusable transportation system designed to carry both crew and cargo on long-duration interplanetary flights and help humanity return to the moon and travel to Mars and beyond.
Absolutely.
Is that
We can have the first people travel around Saturn in a Starship or even go as far as Pluto.
Is that a flare stack activity going on? I think there's a header vent, and
Yeah, there's
the
a header vent.
And the flare stack's gone a little mad. So I was about to say that it was getting a little late. I'm not sure what T- we could be right now.
Right.
And if you're going to talk on the real life Starship talk, and we're going to go back to real life here for a moment, the Starship has a window between now and 7 o'clock Central Time this evening.
And yeah.
Right, we could possibly be 340. I'll wait. Keep going. I'll give you a possible T-0.
Right, and everything continues to look good.
Also, just once you see that flare stack turn off, it is very possible that the static fire might be imminent.
Right. That's when I'm gonna go and switch our timeline from propellant load has started to static fire imminent. So I'll be hopefully we'll see that happen sometime soon.
And
And
let's go back to the point of the belly flop maneuver for Starship. The point of that is to lower the speed and drag to make sure that Starship is able to go from a horizontal position into a vertical position using these three Raptor engines or two Raptor engines to assist in the landing burn. But of course, they'll transition to one engine because by the time that two are complete, they should have enough speed to slow down onto one engine. But of course, from
And
what Elon has said, we are now going to two engines just to increase a bit more, just to have the speed a bit slower and to just to make it a bit more stable and smooth.
And for those
right.
wondering, Starship is designed to deliver satellites further and at a lower marginal cost per launch than our current Falcon vehicles, with a payload compartment larger than any fairing currently in operation or development. Starship creates possibilities for new missions, including space telescopes even larger than the James Webb Telescope.
In that case, the
Right.
Hubble Space Telescope.
So
Starship can also deliver both cargo and people to and from the ISS. The Starship fairing provides significant capacity for in-space activities. The aft cargo containers can also host a variety of payload. Now, about moon missions, developing bases to support future space exploration requires the transport of large amounts of cargo to the moon for research and human spaceflight development. Starship is designed to carry these building blocks.
Exactly, even in the case of building multiple space stations on orbit.
Yeah, and that's why we want to get interplanetary transport, because building cities on Mars will require affordable delivery of significant quantities of cargo and people. The fully reusable Starship system uses in-space propellant transfer to achieve this and carry people on long-duration interplanetary flights.
Right, well, without that talk about Starship, let's go back to Starhopper here because that's today's important
right.
step and milestone here. The
So
Starhopper is only meant to design and test the Raptor engine in flight, just to make sure that even if it's going up, it also performs the same as if it were being a static fire, or test at the McGregor test site for engine testing and first stages and second stage.
Also, the Starhopper is currently using the Raptor engine. Now, this is a reusable Mesolox, which is using methane and liquid oxygen staged combustion engine that powers the Starship launch system.
top vent.
Top 10.
Oh, there he goes. That's
Okay,
another step closer. That
yeah,
means
that's
that we're not on hold because different vents are coming out, so we're definitely not on hold.
right.
And there
Absolutely.
we go. We're definitely not on hold, and two, we have another header vent from the liquid oxygen tank.
Yeah,
Alright,
and
now the Raptor engines are beginning flight testing on these Starship prototype rockets, in this case the Starhopper, and it has become the first full stage combustion rocket engine ever produced that actually works and functions as it should, and probably the first that will ever fly.
And just a friendly reminder for the people in the chat, please be respectful to our hosts and commentators. It is quite disrespectful to be rude to the people, calling them underage and things, because we try our best here to give you guys the best quality content. So please don't be disrespectful to anyone here.
Hey, what's up, Flight Vector? I see you there in chat.
uh, so yeah, everything continuing to look good right now.
I'm trying to get a possible estimate for a T-0 once, because I'm pretty sure a vent at the bottom is supposed. You see that vent under the skirt that looks really dark because of the shadows?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yes, that vent is it's it's going to throw more
Oh, flare
venting, I
stick!
guess. Oh,
No, I
what?
almost thought the
No.
flare stack stopped.
Oh, oh, I was
No,
gonna. No, no, no. It's fine.
I
It's
almost thought
fine.
the flare stack stopped.
It would have been a heart attack. So that vent is gonna get well, quite a lot thicker, and I'm pretty sure that means engine chill. So after that, we might be. Oh, that's a side vent.
Oh, side vent. Okay, cool. It's you can also see every vent is a little bit different in terms of the rate of the vent. Some of the top vents are a little bit different. This one's a little bit bigger than the last vent we saw. At the top.
More
So
pressure being
you know
released.
it really depends how much pressure. Yeah, it really depends on how much pressure is being built in there. Oh, and then that bottom vent just has left the
Yeah,
plant.
that was. I think it
Uh,
was just a little depressurization they needed to do. Flare stack still going.
I bet
Yeah,
they
flare
were.
stack.
I think the point of why they were pressing there. I think the point with that was to equalize the pressure and just make it to what SpaceX is expecting for today's
Yeah, I'm
static
pretty
fire.
sure there's also a vent like that in the methane tank.
Right.
But it's weird how they always do it on the oxygen tank, so whatever.
And we're just 20 minutes away right now. Been streaming for about 48 minutes. I'm gonna get an exact count. 49-ish minutes and 41 seconds. Okay, very nice. So we've been streaming for almost an hour now.
Let's hope
but,
we don't have to
nothing
do
crazy.
another hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything.
Well, time doesn't matter when you're having fun. Also, we're expecting a static fire today, so that's exciting.
Right, absolutely.
Although static fires do seem quite small, they are
I
important
think you're cutting off a lot.
to
Oh yeah.
launching. The reason why they static fire is to get data and make sure that everything is ready, so that this hopefully soon enough here we'll have a tethered hop.
Right, and
Got it.
another
That's
thing, another thing to make sure is we don't want to make sure these engines have any issues. Obviously, if there were to be an issue with today's static fire, we'll obviously have to switch out the engines and repeat this whole process again. So, if you want to take us through that process, by the way, Elon, about how we're gonna do it, how an engine swap would work, and
Well, I mean, an engine swap is never a good thing. So, I mean, an engine swap must only be done in case one of the engines just dies after a static fire, which could be for many reasons. It could be because of the engine itself, the combustion chamber, or maybe a piece of debris from the launch pad, or, well, not launch pad, but the launch mount. Just might come into the engine, which is always a possibility. We are hoping to do all of the tests we have scheduled with this same engine, which is engine SN6, Raptor SN6, which will hopefully do this static fire, a 1 meter hop, a 20 meter hop, and then a 150 meter hop, which will be the final test probably for Starhopper.
I believe the final hop is 150 meters.
Yes, 150 meters. That's what we're targeting.
Right, 150 meters. That's gonna be an amazing milestone here. But yeah. So, and if you're just joining us, welcome. It's a beautiful day here at Boca Chica, Texas. We're trying, or SpaceX is trying, to do a static fire test of the Starhopper vehicle. We are currently only about 15 minutes away. About that range, 17 minutes to be exact.
Yeehaw,
but-
boys.
Yeah.
Yeehaw!
But other than that, so far everything looks good. We've had no off nominal sensor readings on our side, and for anyone wondering, the static fire should only be 3 seconds. We will not be gaining any altitude. We're just gonna be hooked up on the ground, and we're just gonna hit the engines for just about 3 seconds, shut them down, and then begin a rapid detank. So yeah, and as you can see, the flare stack, which is that orange fiery thing, the best way to describe it, I guess, that flare stack we see is, still burning, really, to burn off some excess methane. That should be stopping soon, and once that's the case, I'll switch over the timeline to static fire imminent.
Yes, there's two options. It either stops or it gets a little bit heavier, if you want to call it
Right.
like that. I personally think it might stop, but of course we don't know anything about this vehicle pretty much, so
Right.
yeah.
This is the main part of today's static fire is to get data for how the Raptor engine performs, really in this environment. And yeah, we're just gonna get some data, analyze it, the SpaceX teams, and based on that, make engine changes, or just leave it as is and go for the hop. Maybe, but I'm very positive they will be doing engine changes or types of changes because rapid iteration is pretty key for the Starship program. So,
Yeah, for those wondering why our Starhopper doesn't have a nose cone on top of it, which was a planned thing, it actually tipped over due to the high winds in here Boca Chica, Texas. Now, due to it tipping over, we can't actually use it, and we won't do the expected 10-kilometer hop that we wanted to do with 3 Raptors just on the Starhopper and not a full Starship.
All right. I just have confirmation. Once the big vent at the bottom opens, once a vent gets heavier at the bottom, that means I'm pretty sure that means engine chill, and static fire would be pretty much exactly 9 minutes from then.
right.
So once you
Another
see some
a
big
hint,
venting under
also
the
a hint
skirt,
that we're sorry to pause you there, Yvonne, but another hint that we're about 10 minutes out is the siren, and the siren would come from a local sheriff's police car or whatever you call it. Um, so yeah, that's what we're expecting in about T minus
Well,
10 minutes.
we just got a word from the in real life Starship that the closure is over for today, so we have no flight, and
no
the
SN11.
NASASpaceflight channel has announced the scrub.
Okay.
Wow, rip.
So going on to real life terms, Starship number 11 in IRL, the prototype that was set to fly today, to about 10 kilometers and gain data for a descent and relight and land at the landing pad is now cancelled. The roads are now open. The weather is looking pretty iffy. We don't know the exact issue or why they're done, but yeah, they are not targeting a flight for today. We should be targeting sometime sooner or later. But yeah, we'll have to see.
My main prediction for the scrub for today is the cloud base, 'cause it seemed quite low today. I'm predicting it was maybe between 1,800 feet and maybe 1,000. It was quite low. The cloud layer, so that's probably the main concern for today.
Right.
And just a reminder for everyone in the chat, we're expecting a 3-second static fire to equalize, to test and get data on how the Raptor engine performs when it's on a Starship test prototype.
Right. And I'm going to be taking a quick break for about 5 to 6 minutes. If the static fire goes off while I'm gone, let me know. Thank God we got this on recording. But for now, I'll be right back.
And from everyone here on the Roblox NASA Spaceflight team, we're going to take about a 5-minute pause. But if anything happens, one of our commentators will come and give you guys some information and details.
Just stop.
Yeah, the top vent just stopped, so we're going to take a 5-minute break for everyone here. Just take a breather, get a cup of water, have a sip of water, maybe some food. But we'll be back in about 5 minutes. And it does look like we have a vent from the methane tank.
And that was a lot shorter than 5 to 6 minutes, but I'm back. So everything's still looking good right now.
And it looks like from data that it looks like the
Quick question. I don't know if you
methane
can hear me,
tank
but is there a
vent
vent at the
has
bottom right now?
stopped.
there is a bottom end, yeah.
Alright, so I'm pretty sure that means we are 9 minutes from now.
Yeah, that's the engine chill phase.
All right, so
We are at about T-minus 9 minutes. And
All right.
remember, we say 9 minutes, but at any time we can scrub and it will be just set for another date. So
Right.
we don't have an actual clock running. So don't worry if we don't do it today, because it will certainly be tomorrow or someday else. And yeah, that's what we're doing. We are static firing Starhopper, and yeah, I hope you like the static fire, because it will be a very
Whoa.
important mark for the next flight test, the 2-meter tethered hull, as we said.
And just to let you know, I'm going to be changing it to static fire imminent now on our stream. And just to let you know, the flare stack is going a little crazy right now, but it should be shutting off here soon. But I'm going to go ahead and change it now, just because we're entering our final clock countdown here.
Wait, the bottom bend doesn't seem to be getting heavier as of now. So it might be a little longer than 9 minutes.
We might be in a hold from what the looks are. We might be in a hold. Again, because of Starship being able to equalize pressure and hold the tanks, we actually have a bit of an adjusted window, unlike Falcon 9, where once you start propelling
Oh yeah, it's quite big now. Yeah,
You have-
T-minus 9 minutes.
have-
Yeah, that's T-minus
Oh.
9 minutes.
go.
Okay, static fire is imminent.
Starship is capable of about 5 to 10 minutes of full time before you have to go.
Right. And this
That's one
is
big
really the
daddy
final stretch.
vent from the engine. We might actually be in engine chill. We might be in engine chill.
Yeah, that's
Right.
engine. That's T-minus 9 minutes.
So, T minus 9 minutes, as we said. Everything continuing to look good. We've had a nominal engine chill event currently happening. So, realistically now, we are static fire imminent. So, all we have to
Yes.
wait for is to see that one engine light up for 3 seconds and shut down. And then we know we had a good static fire visually.
If we could get a close shot of it, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and move over to a nice close shot for a second. All right. And
And just a reminder to everyone, the reason why we're static firing, or the reason why SpaceX is static firing, is to collect data for future flights of Starship and Starhopper.
right. And I'm gonna go ahead and pan over to Starship now, or it's not Starship, Starhopper mainly, to be in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, it looks
Okay.
good right now.
All right, that's a pretty good camera view, so we're gonna rock that for the static fire. We're not gonna be changing that.
We're now standing by for static fire, which is now imminent because of the engine chill starting. And just a reminder for everyone, real life with Starship, we'd have a tri-vent, but for Starhopper, there is no tri-vent.
Right.
The tri-vent is essentially what we see with the big smoke here, except it's on three sides of the Starship. Actually, you might think, well, Starship only has 2 fins. Why would we have Starship divided in 3 sides? Well, it's because we have 3 Raptor engines in this case 3 sea level Raptor engines, and that's why we would see a dry vent, because it's a vent like the one we're seeing, except times 3.
Alright, and what are we looking on the clock right now? We're looking at T minus 6 minutes and about 30 seconds. The flare stack should be shutting off here soon. It's getting a bit big now, actually, matter of fact. Not a problem at all.
And just a reminder for everyone in the chat, our clock's probably a few seconds or even a few minutes off for the timeline, because we don't know what the time it's going to happen. Just because we are guessing here, because SpaceX is not telling us. So we're guessing it's going to be within the next 6-7 minutes. And Lobster, do you happen to know how long it takes for propellant load?
So, it can really depend for a Starhopper. Okay. It's a little darker now. Wow.
Yeah,
That's the sun.
the sun's down.
That's the sunset.
Yeah, sun's down now, so, okay. Hey, the static bar is gonna look a lot cooler than expected. But
Yeah.
getting back onto the topic of prop loading, Starship prop loading,
Ooh, the flare.
or Starhopper, I think
The flare is
around-
way bigger now. Yeah, that's the flare. The flare is getting a lot bigger and a lot brighter.
Right, and we're gonna be turning up the events timeline now for a better view of the static fire. But just to get back onto your question, I think I honestly am not totally aware. Or maybe around 35-ish minutes, somewhere in that range. I think it depends if they're doing a SF or a hop, but
Yeah, we just turned off the events timeline for a better view for you viewers, so you can actually see the Starhopper and its static fire with a bit more of field of vision.
It does seem that we are almost closing in on T minus 4 minutes and 15 seconds. It's very exciting that Starhopper might just be about to static fire, but again, we're just guessing on the time. We're probably a few seconds or a few minutes off on our count.
right.
That engine is really pushing that, the engine's really chilling right now.
Right, yeah.
It's quite a hard vent there.
If you take a look at the flare stack really quickly, but I'm not gonna pan over, but if you take a look at that, you can see how nice it looks in right now.
Oh my god, that
camera
flare stack is
right now
getting
is pretty
mega.
amazing. Yeah, it does look pretty nice though, with the amazing plume basically coming off of it. But I think that flare stack should stop here soon. Alright, and here we go. This is the final stretch really, T minus 3 minutes. Now, if we get this, if we get the count perfect, I'm gonna be pretty surprised, to be honest. But that's probably very unlikely. We'll probably be at least few seconds to minutes off, maybe. We'll have to see. The flare stack is.
And if we get
still
our
taking a
count
long
right
time, but,
here on our static fire prediction, that will also help us better understand the timeline of how long it takes between propellant loading and static fire.
Look at that. That looks sick. Wow, that looks amazing. The engine chill looks super nice right now. We have a great view right now. Starhopper.
We are now closing in on
and-
T minus 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We are standing by for static fire.
Right.
It's getting very exciting here to be closing in on T minus 2 minutes. Because static fire is about to happen. So before static fire, we expect there to be a bit of a vent from the methane and liquid oxygen header tanks. And then once that starts to happen, we expect static fire.
Right, and that static fire, we're about 2 minutes in, we're gonna set up and just let you take it in, really.
Oh, I think
Oh,
a few
top
seconds.
man.
That's gonna be a few
Top man.
seconds.
Oh, okay, this is it.
Alright. Get ready. Buckle up.
You might see some dust particles, but
Right, what's the... Okay, vents off.
alright.
Can you guys update me on the flare stack? How does it look right
The
now?
flare stack is still running, not
Flare
as high
stack
as
is-
it was. Not as
Right.
high as it was.
Oh, that
but
means we're under
it's
30
still-
seconds. Okay, yeah, I think stay quiet.
Okay, 30 seconds. Let's shut down your mics and just watch the view.
Estimation, by the way, I am estimating.
Right. Okay. Okay, we're inside. There we go! Nice! Shut down.
That was
Okay.
acceleration static
Look at
fire.
that dust! And D-Tank. D-Tank has started. Okay, very nice.
So, for everyone wondering, we don't have any information yet. We don't know if it was successful, obviously, but we will look at the data we got and see if everything's going right. And if it is, we'll come back either for another static fire if we need to, or the 2-meter tethered hull.
Look at that. Okay, so this is it. A 1 engine 3-second static fire. It was pretty amazing, really. That's it. There's nothing else that's supposed to happen. Flare stack should shut down. Detanking should begin here shortly, and once we get the heads up from the mission control, ground crew is going to head back to the pad. So I think they're all going to get back in their vehicles and begin convoy.
And now that the static fire was, I believe, I'll see you all
lots of lag.
at the tethered hop
Whoa,
and depress
You are feeling
is
you are
happening. But I'll see you guys back at the tethered hop.
before we go.
okay.
Before we go, let's just say something. Our ground crew can't actually return to the pad as we speak because we still need to do one last thing, which is vehicle safing. Because
Right.
currently the vehicle still has some propellant in it, even though most part of it has detamped, which has left the vehicle. Most part of it is still on the fuel tanks, and that's why we can't return to the pad. And so it will take about a day until it's safe, and then we'll return to the pad, do some checks, and see if everything went all right with our Raptor.
Right, and I'm gonna end it off here for everyone. This is I'm Lobster, the host of today's stream. We are now signing off on today's Starhopper event.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.